They always say it's only funny until someone gets hurt. Or it's all right to be funny, but not if someone else gets hurt. We should always be careful about what we say because sometimes things that sound funny can actually be hurtful. Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoons sometimes, and today in this video I wanted to go over the top 10 things that sound funny but are actually very mean. So these are things that you think might sound funny, but when you say them to people, it comes out differently to them. Like it comes out super rude and hurtful. So we always need to be careful because sometimes when we sound like we're being funny, we can be mean when we least expect it. So we should always pay attention to what we say that we think sounds funny because sometimes it may sound mean. So I'm gonna get started and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So number one on my list would have to be scaring someone at a sleepover who is not used to sleepovers. So I did this before by accident and I have a full story and I'll link that down below if you didn't see, and it's the time I scared my friend when she came over to sleepover. So sometimes if you notice your friend getting scared because he or she's not used to being at sleepovers, it's not good to make them feel more scared because you're just being a complete jerk and not thinking about how you're making that person feel, because they may want to get their parents to pick them up in the middle of the night, which is not a good thing because their parents are probably tired. So you need to think about what you say, because you never want to scare somebody who is not used to sleepovers, because they can and will get freaked out when you least expect it, and it's never funny to scare anybody. I mean, it's okay if you're playing a game, but it's never funny to scare anybody who is afraid of the dark and not used to sleepovers. And like I said, I have a full story of that, of how I accidentally scared my friend at a sleepover, and if you didn't see the video, it'll be linked in the description box down below. Number two on my list would have to be make mean jokes about someone who is not with you in person. So if you say something like, let's say you're going,
oh, it's quiet because Susan or Anna is not here, blah, 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 blah. They're super loud, blah, 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 blah. Just kidding.
So if you say something like that, like if someone says it's really quiet and then it's because you say a certain person is not there, that's super mean because it makes other people feel like you don't want that person there. And it is very, very hurtful. So you never want to say that, say something mean about somebody, like say it's quiet here and you're just kidding, because when you say that right off the bat, it means you don't want that person there. And I have actually a full story about the time my friend accidentally made a joke about somebody when they weren't there. And if you want to see, okay, let's rewind that. So I have a full story about the time my friend accidentally said it was quiet because someone who was actually normally loud wasn't there. And if you want to see that full story, I'll link that down below. So always keep in mind, be careful about what you say about people who are not with you in person. Number three on my list would have to be reminding someone of something hurtful that they've done to someone else in the past. So you never want to do this because people can and will get hurt, and it's just not a nice thing to do to people. So you need to be very careful about what you say to somebody. You never, ever, ever want to remind somebody of something hurtful that they've done to you or someone else, because it seems like you never got over it and it seems like you're holding a grudge. So always be careful, even if you're trying to make it sound funny. And I have a full story about the time my friend accidentally reminded me of the time I reminded her of her manners, which made me feel bad, and she didn't realize it until someone told her. And if you didn't see the full story, I will link that down below if you didn't see. Number four on my list would have to be make fun of someone else's artwork. This isn't fair because when you do that, you're going to make someone else feel bad because they may have spent a lot of time and effort onto it and they worked really hard to paint it and it took them hours and hours. So, I mean, even if it doesn't look perfect, it's never good to make fun of someone else's artwork because it shows you're a bad person. So just make sure, if you don't like what someone else paints, don't say anything. Or if you don't think it looks good, just don't say it straight to their face because you're gonna hurt their feelings. Number 5 on my list would have to be make fun of a hobby that people enjoy. So you never want to make fun of a hobby that people enjoy, because some people may be offended by that. I remember a couple people made fun of me because when I first started knitting, and they called me grandma and stuff, but I said, you know what? I like to knit, so whatever. If you don't like to knit, that's totally fine. It doesn't mean you have to make me try to hate it. So I didn't let those words ever get to me. So if somebody makes fun of you for crocheting or knitting, don't let anybody get to you, because how would you feel like if somebody said your doll collection sucks and stuff, or your hobby of collecting toys for toddlers is for 5-year-olds? So you got to think about these things before you make fun of someone else's hobby. Number 6 on my list would have to be when you make fun of somebody for not having a boyfriend and then you pester them to find one. This actually has happened to me. I've had a couple friends actually make fun of me for not having a boyfriend, and then they pester me to find one, and they call me mean names. I'm not going to say what the names are just because I'm not comfortable saying them here on YouTube. And so they would call me names and stuff until one day finally I just ran away from them, and then they finally realized that their making fun of me was too much, and then once they finally stopped. So you never want to make fun of somebody when they don't have a boyfriend, because that's just mean. I mean, I get it. If there's a certain age that people should have boyfriends and girlfriends right now, you shouldn't be making fun of somebody for not having a boyfriend. I mean, that just is hurtful. Well, and you never want to bother somebody to find one, because that just gets annoying. Number 7 on my list would have to be when you pour a beverage on someone while they're asleep. That's never okay. You never want to pour a beverage on someone while they're asleep. Because they probably don't like that, and it makes it look like they drooled on themselves, and they'll probably get embarrassed. Or if you pour it on like the crotch of their pants, they're probably going to look like they wet their pants. So please do not do that. And plus, some people don't like the feeling of being wet while they're asleep. So it's not comfortable to be wet while you're asleep. So just be careful. You never want to do that, especially when you're trying to wake somebody up. You never want to pour a beverage, especially if it's a hot beverage, because you can burn somebody like that. And I have a story about the time my friend poured water on my sister to wake her up, which was mean, and I'll link the story down below if you didn't see. Number 8 on my list would have to be when you make fun of food that people eat. So you never want to make fun of food people eat, because some people may like the food. I mean, even if it's a really weird combo that you would never eat, or even if it's food that you don't like, you never want to make fun of people for the food they eat, because everybody likes different foods, everybody has different taste buds, and if someone eats a food you don't like, it's never good to be mean about it and make fun of them for it. It's just not a good thing. Like, you never want to say someone's gross, you never want to say someone's weird while they're eating certain foods. It's just completely mean. So you need to be careful about that. And I have a full story that I just made today about the time one of my classmates got made fun of for eating cottage cheese, and it was really mean. If you didn't see the story, it'll be linked in the description box down below. Number 9 on my list is when you call somebody a name. And I know we all joke around when we call people names, but you need to be careful what kind of names you call people, because sometimes the more you call them that certain name, the more it gets kind of annoying, the more that person gets hurt. So you don't want to call this person a certain name over and over again. Like, let's say they're a dog, let's say they're a cat. You don't want to say those things over and over again, because the more you say it, the more they're actually going to get annoyed with it, and the more you're going to think they're actually a certain thing. So just keep in mind, like, when you're being funny and calling someone a certain name, you never want to do that all the time, because it does get funny for a little bit, even with when the person's joking around with you. But if they're not joking around with you, you should never call somebody names. Please think about that. Number 10 on my list would have to be when you laugh at someone who is crying. So you never want to laugh at people who are crying, because it's just never a good thing, because you might have hurt their feelings, you might have pushed them too far. It's never good to laugh at somebody who is crying, because it's just not a good thing. It's really mean. And I mean, even if the crying does sound funny, you just never laugh at someone when they're crying, because it is just not okay. I mean, some people get hurt because if you laugh, it shows you don't care about that person's feelings. So pay attention to people's emotions before you start laughing. So those are the top 10 things that sound funny but are actually mean. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!